Hello, fellow Bluebaggers, and welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge. And we are here for our first live stream of season 2026. And boy, it's crept up on me. I don't know about you guys and girls out there, but it's crept up on me very, very quickly. That is for sure. But glad to be back. And haven't been anywhere else really. I've been producing content, as you've seen, if you've been following the channel across the pre-season, post-season, but it's all led to this. And we are here to preview the first match between us and the Sydney Swans tomorrow night. And as I said, it's just crept up very, very quickly on me. It feels as though, I don't know about you. Let us know your thoughts in the chat about the opening round. But I was preparing for us not to play in opening round this season. The game against Brisbane, that was handy. I mean, that was quite fun because I went up there with my wife and her dad. We're all massive baggers, of course, but that was a good match because we came back from out of nowhere and ended up triumphing with the with a win. So that was good. But I was expecting us not to be playing in opening round this season, and for it to happen. I mean, different circumstances this time around. I've since got a 9-month-old son and whatnot, so can't exactly be jumping on a flight and consuming this game. But I mean, I would absolutely love to. First game against Charlie, of course. That's probably the biggest narrative heading into this game, of course. And let's just hope that we can hit the ground running for the season as a whole, but also, prove. I think there's so many doubters within the media that think that we're not going to really amount to anything in 2026, and it's probably a good position to be in. I think I'd much prefer to be in this position compared to being, a weight of expectation on the team, and for all the media to say that, expectations are for the team to be making top four and, tilting for a flag, that sort of thing. So it's always, I think, easier to prove the doubters wrong when you're an underdog. So let's hope it goes that way. But as I said, we are here to preview the game, of course. So without further ado, we might just do that ever so quickly before the teams are released. Of course, that is a big part of the preview, of course. But we might just rewind back to the previous encounter that we had against the Swans in 2025. Of course, if you are tuning in, if you have just tuned in, I can see there's a few people tuning in now. Thank you, first and foremost. But let us know if everything is hunky-dory, because this is the first live stream for the season. Want to make sure that you can hear me, first and foremost. Whether or not you can see me, who cares? But main thing is if you can hear me. And of course, get involved in the chat. And we have here one of the long-time supporters of not just Bluebaggers Edge, but also Supercoach Edge, my other channel under the Edge brand. Of course, that is my business. Slim, good to see you, mate. It is a beautiful surprise to see you on here, mate, because I know you're not a Baggers man. I can't recall who you support, but thank you for jumping on nonetheless, mate. Really do appreciate the support there. But let us know as well your expectations heading into this clash against the Swans. Can we arrest the, hoodoo that we have at the SCG against the Swans? I don't think we've beaten them there. I think we've only won one game of the past 16 encounters or something, Something crazy like that. I'll have to have a look into it. But I think it is on the AF website. So we will go ahead and check that out. So this is match report for our previous encounter against the Swans. It was round 10, and it was 11-12-78 to Carlton 9-8-62. And from memory, we were in the game for quite a while, and it was just a classic case of one of those games among many, as we came to know, that we stayed in the game and then we just petered out towards the end. And this bloke here absolutely tore us to shreds. I think it was him, and it would have been Warner, I think, kicked a few goals as well. But he kicked the sealer and was an absolute just dynamo. Won the Goods O'Loughlin medal for best of field. There you go, 38 disposals, 10 clearances and 2 goals, including the sealer with 3 minutes remaining. But I think, we were in the game within a few goals pretty much throughout the entire game. And let's just quickly... there he is, Charlie, of course. There we go. So we've lost 17 of our past 19 matches against the Swans at the SCG. Jeez, 3 decades long hoodoo. So just crazy stuff. So hopefully we can arrest it. I'm normally one to tip with my head as opposed to my heart. I'm not someone that tips Carlton every single week. That's just absolute craziness. But I feel as though, I don't know if it's renewed optimism or what, but I feel as though we are a chance against the Swans. I don't know what it is, if it's, being down to open training for multiple sessions across the preseason, seeing, the level that we've got to. I think compared to last season, I think we can definitely take the next step. Whether or not that includes beating the Swans, and it's probably a good test for the Swans as well. I mean, a lot of the media are saying that they are a bit of a smoky. They've got a chip on their shoulder, all that sort of stuff. But, has it just come off the back of them acquiring Charlie Curnow? I spoke about the Swans 450 entries being just as bad as ours in 2025. I don't know if I'll have time to jump into it, but Willow Ratings is the other website that I use. And I think they're just as bad as what we are with their entries inside 50 in 2025. So it's not as if he's going to be getting silver service, good old Charlie, but I am very, very keen to see who plays on Charlie. Let us know who you think it will be. I'd love to see Weeder. I mean, strength-wise, he would absolutely pummel Charlie. Speed off the mark, Charlie probably has him covered there, I would say. So it makes me wonder whether or not we play someone else on him. As to who that is, I don't know. Obviously, it's not going to be Harry Dean, although he would probably be a really decent matchup, but I wouldn't do that to him first up. But yeah, the other interesting thing I want to note here is, let me just flick across to the next screen if it lets me do it. I don't think it will. I haven't used StreamYard in a little while, so bear with me. Let me just get it up on screen here. It is an article here from Kane Corns saying virtually that we should not take it easy on Charlie, which I don't think we should really in the grand scheme of things. But this is the article here. He's virtually just said that Kane Corns has a message to Carlton, head of the clash against Sydney, does not want niceties between the Blues and their former star forward, Charlie Curnow. If I see any Carlton players go and shake the hand of Charlie Curnow prior to the siren on Thursday night, I'm going to do a Terry Wallace and spew up. Honestly, the world and the football world in general has become far too nice. We're too scared to offend anyone. We are too scared to get in the face of the opposition. We are too scared to be nasty. Surely this calls for nasty on Thursday night. Blues fans, are you with me? And don't leave it to young players. Don't leave it to Jacob Smith. Don't leave it to Harry Dean. I know Will Hayward has a bit of a nasty streak in him, which I love. I reckon Ben Ainsworth has got a bit of a nasty competitive streak as well. If I see Patrick Cripps with his big white mouth guard go and smile to Charlie Curnow, that'll be it for me. It is time that the nasty Blues come back. I don't mind it. I don't mind that sentiment, I guess. But, I mean, Charlie's been a part of the club for so long, won a couple of Colemans, so I think it's probably inevitable that the guy's going to shake his hand, be respectful, but as soon as that siren is sounded, that ball is, well, not bounced, thrown up in 2026 onwards, I expect the guys to switch on and give it to him just en masse, just heap shit on him and really get under his skin. They should know what really irks him as well as a player. And as soon as he misses his first shot at goal, gee whiz, get into him, because that is something that will really, really, I think, irk him. Well, let's jump across to the AFL website now and see if they have released the teams. Now, in terms of debutants, Jagger Smith and Harry Dean have been announced. I don't know if Dirksen has been announced because, here we go. I don't know if there's going to be any other outs. Ooh, McGovern's been named instead of Dirksen. Is that correct? Let's just switch it to the Carlton mode first. So we have Reedy. So the 2 ruck setup is what we're rolling with, which is something that I floated in my best 23 video that I recently released. Just because I think without the sub rule, there's a lot of teams out there I think will be adopting this strategy where they'll have, an extra tall that you can go with, because obviously extra rotation. I mean, rotations are still the same capped amount, but I just think that ability there to swing between both guys, and with the new ruck rule, umpires throwing up the ball straight away, and also the fact that, there's less stoppages between the arcs, between the forward 50 and the defensive 50 in the middle of the ground. I think it means that we're going to be probably playing someone behind the ball or up forward, depending on where the ball is at that point in the game. But I can just see strategically there's a real impetus to use 2 ruckmen in a game. So this will be a nice little test here to see if it works out. Reedy as well can play up forward, and I think he can do a little bit of damage as well. And a nice little introduction as well. It might be a bit too much to throw Reedy into the fire solo, and Pitnet as well. I think he's probably earned his stripes across the preseason against the Lions and the Cats in that official hit out, compared to Reedy, who kind of redeemed himself against the Cats compared to that Lions game. But the followers we have Pitnet, Hewitt, and Walshy. Up forward, Ashton Moyer. Now, he was initially in my team, and I took him out of my best 23 because I just figured that Elijah Hollands would be in the forward line. Brody Kemp, no real surprise there. Jagger Smith, named up forward. Ben Ainsworth, Harry Mackay, and Lockie Fogarty is an interesting one. I don't know about him. I know, obviously, Frankie Evans is not available, so we're probably going with that next in line pressure forward, which I think he's probably Lockie Fogarty. I don't know if he's earned his spot really across the preseason. Hasn't looked the best, but we'll let it slide. Will Hayward lining up on the wing there. I imagine that Jagger Smith may actually swing onto the wing. Wouldn't surprise me there. Will Hayward will push forward, obviously, there. And Paddy Cripps in centre. Ollie Hollands on the wing. Good to see that. Adam Sard named in defence. Mitch McGovern's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, we've got Cowan, who's out. I think he's playing in the VFL on the Friday game. Haynes is another one that's out, and Carroll as well. So those are kind of three tools that we've had. Carroll, I guess, a bit of a defensive player come, wingman. But McGovern actually looked okay, I must admit, in both of those games against the Lions and the Cats. Harry Dean named for his debut, so best of luck to him alongside Jagger Smith. Lewis Young, another one as well. Again, these are bit part defenders. They're not best 23 players, which is a little bit concerning. But again, he was pretty serviceable, especially in that game against the Cats. Lewis Young and Jacob Wiedering, good to see he is back. I mean, that looked like doomsday, didn't it, when he went down, clutching his back and ribs in that State of Origin clash. And Ollie Florent as well. Keen eye to see what he can provide with a bit of run and dash out of defence. Zach Williams on the interchange. We have Liam Reedy, as I spoke about. Elijah Hollands. Campbell Chesser also making his debut in navy blue. So best of luck to him. And he excites me. I think he's shown a fair bit in the back part of 2025, really took a next step in his game. And I guess the main thing with him was injury really curtailing him. But also as well, I think the way that West Coast were playing him, they were playing him off a half forward flank and not allowing him to play in a natural position as he has done in his junior years on the wing and through the middle. So really interested to see what he can provide to us fully fit. And Cooper Lord as well, one of my personal faves, as you would know if you tuned into my content in recent seasons. So overall, there's a couple of players there that I'm surprised are playing. Lockie Fogarty, yes, I know it's probably a role that he fills there without Frankie Evans. Lewis Young and Mitch McGovern, but obviously without Cowan, without Haynes, and without Carroll being available in terms of fitness, probably makes a bit of sense there. Doesn't fill me with confidence, that defense. Not the most confident. Harry Dean, obviously, you can't really heap expectation onto his shoulders on debut. Adam Sard hasn't been in the best form, must be said, across the preseason. And Ollie Florent has actually looked pretty good to his credit. Zach Williams, back in defense now, and I'm really excited to see what he can provide. Was serviceable when he was thrown forward, but back to his roots, really, where it all began, and should provide a fair bit of run off defense. Let's have a look at Sydney and the way that they have lined up alongside ours. So Brodie Grundy in the ruck against Pitnet. I think we're probably conceding a little bit of quality in the ruck, must be said. No disrespect to Pitto. Georgie Hewitt up against Errol Goulden, who has been training the midfield as well. I mean, he's kind of been more of that winger traditionally, but has been training with the mids in the engine room for the Swans, and Chad Warner up against Sammy Walsh. Their defence up against our forward line, Tom McCartan fullback, Lewis Milliken, should say, Dane Rampy, Callum Mills, Nick Blakey, and Sam Wicks. They do have a couple of debutants as well, which we'll get into in a moment. James Jordan. Now, James Jordan, I think from memory, has been tagging Walshy, at least in the previous two encounters from memory. So interested to see if he goes to him first up, or if they just go head-to-head, Warner up against Walsh, Goulden up against Hewitt. They might switch things around. Isaac Heaney against Cripper. Matt Roberts earned his stripes back in the Swans team after losing his spot late in 2025 against Ollie Hollins. Malcolm Roses crossing from Gold Coast up against Sard Rowbottom at centre half forward, which is interesting because I don't think he's that tall, is he? 186, yeah, but he's more of a mid. So I don't expect that to be the matchup there against McGovern. Papley against Dean. Amati against Young. Charlie up against Weeders. And McDonald up against Florent. Now, posing a question to all of you out there, let us know your thoughts as well on the team in the comment section. Keep them flowing through because I want to create a bit of a dialogue here. What are your thoughts with the team, our team initially, and what do you rate our chances? Having seen the team on paper, the key matchups, and who plays on Charlie? Is it Weeders? Is it McGovern? Or is it Lewis Young? I don't want Lewis Young to be playing on Charlie, in all honesty. He doesn't provide enough body, I don't think. Probably hasn't speed off the mark, and McGovern as well. I mean, he gets caught napping far too often. So I think Weeders is probably the man. It really depends on how the Swans play Charlie. If they play Charlie like we have played Charlie, where he's kind of been that deep forward, I would love nothing more than that to be the case because it allows Weeders to just play that lockdown defensive role on Charlie. If they push Charlie up the ground, much like how we play Harry, I don't have that much confidence because Weeders has to use his legs. And yeah, he's going to be run off his legs, I think, across the course of the game. So, I mean, if it's not Weeders, who plays on Charlie, depending on that role? Is it McGovern? Does he go with him? I don't think he's got the quality. And Lewis Young as well, in all honesty. Would have loved to have seen Dirksen. I'm disappointed to see that Dirksen has not been named. I don't know what the reasoning is there because he looked really good. I think if we're comparing side by side, I would say, in terms of McGovern, Lewis Young, and Dirksen, I would rate them Dirksen, I think, ahead of the pack by far and away. And then I'd probably say Gov and Louis Young are probably neck and neck. So I'm disappointed. I don't know what the reasoning is there. It really does not make sense. Matchup-wise, I think he could probably play on Charlie, in all honesty. Would be a big ask for him to do so on debut. But, I just think in terms of quality and form, we kind of, we need someone of that mold to really have the attributes to combat Charlie. Let's have a look at the emergencies as well. We have Peter Laddams for the Swans, Corey Warner, and Hayden McLean. And the little man, as I've dubbed him, Pup, of course, because he is Darren Hume 2.0. He is an emergency, so just great effort for him. I mean, would have been surprised had he been named to play his first game in opening round. I've no doubt he's going to play games in 2026. But yeah, I mean, could we have played? I mean, just in respect to Lockie Fogarty, could we have played Taylor Byrne in that role? I would say at full strength, Frankie Evans pushes out Taylor Byrne, yes. But Taylor Byrne, his pressure work, his tackling was a big feature. Kicking was a real highlight as well. Really nice skills to him. But I think in terms of his tackling, fierceness, competitiveness, yeah. I mean, in respect of Frankie Evans not being in the team, which I expected him to be, but I think he got injured in the game against the Cats. Yeah, Taylor Byrne probably earns his stripes. Hudson O'Keefe, the other emergency, and Jordan Boyd as well. Didn't go through the interchange for the Swans as well. We have Rolly Bice, Justin McInerney, Jai Sarong making his debut crossing from the Hawks, and Jake Lloyd alongside Angus Sheldrick. So let us have a look at the chat. And Slim, you're coming through loud and clear, bud. P.S. You're a Tigers man. Of course. My wife is a bagger, so I've got to show some love to your boys. Well, thank you, Slim. You are a very, very kind man. And you are a very kind man, as I know, firsthand, because when my son was born, you and your wife were, I mean, we've obviously never met in person, and I hope to one day. But when you heard news that my son had been born, of course, went through, some hurdles that he had to overcome in terms of being in the NICU for about 4.5 months whilst recovering because he was premature, and a host of other things as well, which we won't get into. But to receive a package in the mail from someone who tunes into my content and hasn't met me in person to be that nice, to spend money on an absolute stranger, with the gifts and hamper and stuff that you were able to provide. And even, you won't see him alongside me here, but my cat Patty, who you might see in behind me there on the scratching post when I'm recording some videos, to actually provide him with a bit of food as well was really, really nice, mate. So you are an absolute legend. So I just want to shout you out again, mate. So thanks again for all your support. And the fact you're tuning in now and you're not even a Carlton supporter, mate, just really shows the cut of your jib, mate. And yet you're a very, very, very good bloke. So thank you, mate. Now, bruh, that's I think the reaction I had when I saw that Dirksen wasn't in the team. Bruh, yeah, a big omission there. He and Byrne didn't get picked because we're tanking this out. Don't go that early, bruh. Don't go there early, mate. I don't think we're tanking this season. If Voss wants to keep his job, there is the team needs to get off to a half decent start. There is no way that we can't afford to be doing that. But it makes you wonder. I mean, selection issues have always been something that's cropped up across the journey. If you tuned into my my team sheet previews and live streams that I did last season, the amount of times that I went off my rocker about Cooper Lord either not being selected or being selected as a sub week in, week out, geez, it's you could be a millionaire if you got a dollar every time I said that, because I said it ad nauseum. And of course, Cooper Lord finally got full games late in the season and played in his natural position and looked really good. It makes you wonder what some of these coaches are doing and what they see or don't see in players. Vossi didn't memo. Pracky games are over. Yep, they are definitely over. TDK is the sub. Interesting. Wouldn't that be interesting? TDK is a sub. Yeah. I mean, sorry, you're referring to the game against the Lions. Yeah, of course. And yeah, he was subbed back onto the ground quick smart because just the dumbest selection move. But I mean, you can't just blame Boss. It is the wider match committee, the coaches and whatnot. It's just stupid stuff. But in terms of key matchups for this game, interesting. First and foremost, I've spoken about it already, but how our forward line dynamic is going to work. And I think the way that it's worked and what we've shown across the preseason so far has looked really good. Really, I think there's a lot of flexibility is probably the word for it. Ainsworth, he's kind of been, when he was at Gold Coast, he's played upfield as well as sort of that high half forward. Brody Kemp, he's cut his teeth in, was it 2024, late in the piece when Harry and Charlie weren't available. And yeah, he actually did a pretty decent job, one out. And he's kind of, I think he's best suited to being that, and I've spoken about it before, that third tall forward. But now without Charlie being there, he's been promoted to being that second fiddle, virtually. And he's looked okay. I mean, early games last year before he injured his Achilles, he actually looked pretty good. There was a game there, I think he kicked 3, 4, maybe 5 goals as that second fiddle type role. So I don't know, the way that the Harry's been used traditionally with Charlie there, I hope it switches and Kempy can play more as that sort of high half forward pushing up the ground and using Harry as that stay-at-home key forward. He's such a good mark overhead, and I just want to see us going back to those roots. That's what Harry was playing, that role he was playing when he won the Coleman, when Charlie was injured for, 18 rounds of the season, when he won his Coleman medal. So I want to see him going back to that stay-at-home forward role. Kempy being pushed up the ground. Lockie Fogarty is going to be that pressure forward, obviously. Ben Ainsworth, as I said, he can kind of play upfield if need be. But I expect to see Jagger Smith whipped out of the forward line, Haywood being thrown into there, Ashton Moyer, as well as being kind of that player where he's pushed further up the ground as well. So there are guys there that they can get on their wheels and really provide a bit of an option further inside 50, if that makes sense. It does not make sense. It does, but I didn't word that correctly. Now, the midfield, this is kind of an area of the ground that we need to switch on, because last season against the Swans, as I spoke about at the start of this stream, That's where we got absolutely pummeled. We got absolutely killed. In fact, we might even go through um, the way things looked last season, just with the stats side of things. So this was the breakdown of stats for our encounter: 371 disposals of Swans to 358 inside 50s, 53 to 54. So it was actually a pretty even game, as I spoke about. Disposal efficiency virtually evenly matched, 66.6 up against 65.1. Efficiency inside 50, that was kind of the tail of the tape, wasn't it, for 2025 and 2024 and recent seasons, really. Our entries inside 50 and efficiency inside 50, pretty shit. So the Swans, 50.9%, so they were actually above their season average. Hitouts, that is an area of the ground that we got absolutely pummeled. We got smashed. And that's probably part of the reason as well why we've named both Liam Reedy for his Carlton debut, but also Pitnet as well, because Brodie Grundy is a menace. He is dominant in the ruck. And yeah, intrigued to see how we really combat that two-pronged attack on Brodie. But even around the ground as well, Brodie is really, really good getting around the ground. And with these new ruck rules, he could have a field day. So we probably can't rely upon the endurance base of Pitnet to get around the ground and combat him, which is probably, again, part of the reason why we've got Liam Reedy, who's more mobile and can follow him outside of stoppages. Clearances, the way of the Swans, 45 to 36. Centre clearances, 11 to 8. And stoppage, 34 to 28. Possessions-wise, well, contested possessions, fairly even. 11 differential in favour of the Swans. Uncontested possessions, 2 in our favour. And marks, 70 to 54, which is interesting because last year there were games there we got absolutely smashed. Marks inside 50, 10 to 6, which again is interesting because in the context of that inefficiency inside 50, we actually had more marks. Contested marks 6 to 4. And then, of course, the scoring 11 goals to 9, and then 12 behinds to 8 behinds for us. Defensively, 71-67 in our favour for tackles. Tackles inside 50, that's good. We might look at the team as well last season and compare the ins and outs. 9 tackles inside 50 to the Swans 3, and 1% is 57 to 55 in our favour. So let us go through and, again, continue sending through those thoughts, comments, everything else. We have as well, where are we? G'day, Dean. How are you, mate? Good to see you tuning in, mate. Needed another genuine small forward. They should have selected Burn. Yeah, you might have jumped in a bit late, mate, because we were chatting about that very thing. Good to see, as I said, with Burn being that emergency, but in context of Frankie Evans being out of the team, I think it probably allows Burn to come in. He's shown he's got that real attribute of, defensive forward craft to his game. He's a great tackler, great pressure, and really would have filled the need. I think if Frankie Evans played, 100%. Taylor Burn probably doesn't push him out, nor anyone else. But Lockie Fogarty did not do much for me across the preseason to really earn his spot, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but yeah, crazy. I just don't like picking players based upon the fact that they fill a need, despite the fact that they didn't have any form line. You can't be doing that because then you fall into the trap of, again, you go into a game and you expect a guy to suddenly find form because they fulfill a role or fulfill a need. You need to be showing some sort of form. So it just does not make sense. Don't think they should have selected Moya and Kemp in the same side. I don't mind Moya, really, because you can play Moya further up the ground if need be, and then push Ainsworth a bit deeper. And yeah, I was saying earlier that I'd love to see Harry playing more of his traditional role that he had as a traditional stay-at-home full forward compared to what we've been playing him as when Charlie's been in the team, where Charlie's been that stay-at-home full forward and Harry's been pushed up the ground. I know he's a great mark, but really, Harry won his Coleman when he was playing as that traditional forward. We can have Kemp push up the ground. He's got those attributes. He's played as a wingman virtually in his junior years. He's got a bit of endurance about him. So I'd love to see us go back to the well there. Yeah, indeed. It's just, a bit silly, I think. I mean, I hope it works. I hope Fogarty has a massive game, but I mean, even late in 2025, I can't recall him having any real breakout games. And then across the preseason, as I mentioned, and I've been down to open training, and there was probably one training session where he looked, half decent, bordering on pretty good. Outside of that, he's been a bit so-so. And the preseason games themselves wasn't a massive standout. Agree, Fogarty don't like forwards who can't hit the scoreboard. And that's the fascination that I really dislike with Voss, is because he's so fascinated in, yes, because we need role players. 100% we need role players. But when it comes to role players up forward, if your primary purpose, which is obviously kicking goals, is not in your, bread and butter, not in your repertoire, not your one wood, so to speak, all these metaphors, he fits the bill, Fogarty, to me, as someone that you can't just be. And again, like Frankie Evans, he eventually earned his stripes and he was kicking goals, but his first few games, he was being selected purely as a pressure forward, and he was not hitting the scoreboard when we needed players to do so the most. We weren't hitting the scoreboard enough. We weren't kicking enough goals to put us in winning positions virtually. And then to have, again, we've gone through this cycle, and it's the first game of the season. And already we've gone back to the well there, where we're selecting guys based upon the fact that they fill a role. But again, if you are not kicking goals as a forward, I don't care if you're a tall forward, a small forward, pressure forward, whatever, you cannot be in the team. And there's only so many of these guys as well that you can really select. Now, just quickly as well, I wanted to just compare the pair with teams here. So this is last year's team that we played against the Swans. Jesse Motlop, obviously not in the team. And in all honesty, I mean, if Motlop was fit, I would probably say that Jesse Motlop probably comes in instead of Fogarty. Charlie, obviously no longer there. Jack, no longer there. Cooper Lord being named on a half-forward flank. Again, what are you doing? Harry, of course. Walshy named on a half-forward flank. Jackson Binns no longer there. There's Cripper, Elijah, Lewis Young, Mitch McGovern. So both of these guys as well played in the game against the Swans last year. Nick Haynes unavailable due to injury. Adam Sard, yep. Weeders, Ollie Hollins. Then on the bench, Carroll unavailable due to injuries. Chera, likewise. Will White not on the list. And Corey Durden traded. And then as the sub, Jordan Boyd, who is an emergency this time around. And Frankie Evans named as a follower. Interesting, but obviously out through injury. Georgie Boy and Mark Pitnet. So I think we've done well to sort of rectify the dominance that Grundy had in the ruck this time around by naming two ruckmen, Reedy and Pitt. And yeah, I mean, there's quite a number of guys there that we don't have in the team anymore. Or this time around, we'll probably count the guys that aren't named in the opening round team this time around. So there's Jesse, there's Charles, there's Jack, there's Jackson Binns, there's Nick Haynes injured, Carroll injured, Chera injured, Will White. That's gives us 8. 9 is Corey Durden, 10 Jordan Boyd, 11 Frankie Evans. So 11 players different from the last time that we faced the Swans. How's that? That's almost half the team. That's crazy. That is insane. But yeah, we'll just put up the team again from where are we? Lineups. There we go. So that's the team that we have this time around heading into this game. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? How do we go? Are we a chance? Is the question I'll pose to you. Are we a chance at winning? And is it a case of shutting down one or two players to give us the best chance to do so? I'd hate to see us concentrate solely on Charlie. Yes, he's a good player, as you know, but geez, late in 2025, we know what he can produce or not produce when he's out of form. So I wouldn't like to see us really put all the eggs in the Charlie Curnow basket there. I think if we were going to do just that, I'd be putting all the eggs in the Isaac Heaney basket, because him and Warner, which again is probably the other one, are the two players that have smashed us in the past. And it's been work in being beaten in the middle, essentially. So those are the two guys I think that we need to get on top of, 100%. I might just see if we can bring up Willow ratings as well and just compare some of the stats breakdowns for both teams, for both Carlton and Sydney. Now let me just share this tab. So this, again, Willow ratings. Check it out. Great website. If you're a stats nerd like me, you'll absolutely love it. Now, just wanted to have a look at kicking inside 50. Where is it? Disposals. Inside 50s. Kicking efficiency. I'll have to see if we can find it. But the Swans actually have had less inside 50s than us compared in 2025. Where's disposal efficiency inside 50? Where are we? Scoring. I may have overshot the mark there and missed it. But anyway, hit-outs to advantage. Now, Sydney last year smashed it in this category. No surprise. Brodie Grundy killed us. So this is a real big threat to us. And we almost need to be sharking the ball from him, from his sharking his hit-outs. If you compare it to us, I mean, we were just above the season average. Season average is 10.4. We were 10.6. But Pito as well, his hit-outs to advantage rate was actually really good. I think it was around about 33%, which has him right up there. I think it was like in the top 3, which I might be able to find if we go player stats. And if we go rucks and where are we? Key stats. All right, let's go rucks. I'm pretty sure that's right. He was around about hit-outs to advantage percentage. There you go. So actually just make sure it's being shown on screen there. So that highlighted column is the hit-outs to advantage percentage. And Pitnet was actually rated, of any player that's played 7 games or more, number 1. All these other guys have only played 1 game. Ivan Soldo, Kellen Coleman-Jones, Nick Madden, Nick Bryan, Teagle, Keefe, and believe it or not, TDK was actually the next best with 30.3%. Brodie Grundy is 29.2%. So still rated elite. So that is a big area of the ground that we need to get on top of and try and quell if we can. Dean, you've said we're a chance, but I think we could have challenged the opposition coach's box more with braver selection. Yeah. It comes down to that, doesn't it? It really does. And it seems to be a common theme with Voss's coaching and the coaching. I mean, the coaching staff itself, like we've had a wholesale changes virtually apart from Voss. And the fact that we're still persisting with this now says to me that it's Voss that's pushing this agenda, which is no real surprise. What I'm going to do as well, just for the interest of anyone that is keen to jump on, have a bit of a chat, feel free to do so because I have put the link in the YouTube comments here. It is streamyard.com/55IP3BUTGY. If you can't get access to the chat, if you type that into your URL. But if you want to jump on, feel free to do so. And again, if you are keen just to sit back, watch, and add into the text chat, feel free to do that as well because it will be popping up your comments on screen as they come through. The other area I wanted to have a look at as well was obviously clearances, but we might just actually delve into that specific game against the Swans in 2025. That was round 10, wasn't it, from memory? Round 10. Where is it? There we are. Okay, yeah, there you go. So player rating. Chad Warden was actually rated the best. Now, he kicked a bag as well, didn't he? he had, where's the goals? Yeah, he kicked 2 goals. Heaney kicked 2 goals. 2 goals, 5 Heaney. I don't remember the 5 behinds. Jesus Christ. Killed us. Meters gained, that was the big thing that Warner killed us with. Just his ability to run all day. He's really an endurance athlete. Meters gained is crazy. 630. I mean, if you get sort of in the range of about 450 odd, that's actually pretty good. So for Gov and Hollands to get, almost be pushing 550 is great. But geez, as a midfielder, 630. Craziness. And Charlie, how did Charlie go in that game, just out of interest? He kicked 3 goals, 1. And I think, what did Harry do? 2 goals, 1. Amadi kicked 2. Heaney 2. Cripper kicked 2 as well. And that's the other thing as well that I'm looking for us to really utilise a bit more, is having Cripper push forward and really provide a bit of an extra string to his bow. He's so tall, he can exploit his opponent, push forward, and use both his weight and height to his advantage. So I'm hoping to see that a bit more across 2026. Hamlin kicked a goal as well, even though he's more of a defender. Walshy kicked a goal. Geez, there's so many goal kickers in this game. Grundy, McInerney, Hayward. Geez, you'd love to see him kick a bag as well. The next question I have for you is Hayward. How do you think he performs against his old team? Both him and Florent, but specifically Hayward. How many goals do you think he will kick? Corey Durden kicked a goal. Braden Campbell is a defender. Walshy, Hamling, and so on and so forth. But let's have a look at the player ratings just a bit more. So Brody Grundy, as I said, both of those guys killed us along with Heaney. I think they were probably the top 3 for the game. Be interested to see if they got the 3, all the Brownlow votes distributed amongst them. Cripper was our best, rated our best. Nick Haynes. Georgie Boy Hewitt. Charlie Curnow. What did Pitnet do in the ruck in this game? Jesus crikey. Brody Grundy, 47 hitouts. Pitnet, 24. And then you look at it around the ground. Disposals wise, 12 to 19. Do you have any goal assists? Grundy? Yeah, 3 score involvements. Yeah, it was mainly just in the around the ground it looks as though Pitnet actually was able to not break even with him, but really push him. But I think in the middle, and that's the right craft I think that Grundy has in spades compared to us. Dean, we capitulated badly in the second half of that game. We did. We stayed in it, and we just absolutely fell out of it. And Sydney, to their credit, probably kept us in it with their inefficiency. I mean, with Heaney kicking so many behinds as well, probably should have put us to bed early. But when you're given an opportunity to stay in the game, and not just stay in the game, but a potential there to get on top of your opponent and almost steal the win, it's so frustrating to watch. It happened all too regularly in 2025. But yeah, there's a fair few changes. As I said, there's 11 players that faced the Swans last time around that aren't out in the park tomorrow night against the Swans. So it's a different team. It is a different team, that's for sure. Now, the ones that really are going to provide a fair bit, I think, are Ainsworth and Hayward. Both of these guys have shown quite a bit across the preseason. I always expected Hayward to, with his experience, and I really think he's a quality player. I mean, Ainsworth is as well in his own right, but different types of players. I mean, traditional small forward, Ben Ainsworth, smaller body, or smaller in stature compared to Hayward, who has that leap to him, can kind of play, mid-sized or tall, but also nice crumbing skills as well to almost play as a small. And yeah, that's the other point. I think Ainsworth, is obviously the traditional small forward there, but Jagger's not going to be playing up forward. Hayward would go in there. Lockie Fogarty, kicking goals, playing as that small forward, traditional goal kicking role is not his one wood. He's a pressure forward. So we're going to have to rely upon a lot, I think, Ainsworth kicking those goals as a small, Haywood as that sort of mid-sized player, and then the two key talls in Harry and Kempy, and then Moya probably plays that third tall fiddle type role. Dean, do you think Williams will float forward? Well, in the context that Frankie Evans is unavailable, it wouldn't surprise me, mate. Would not surprise me, because if you look at our defense, we've got Sard. I mean, in terms of the guys that aren't super tall, we've got Sard and we've got Florent. It is awfully tall, it must be said as well. Like Lewis Young, Weeders, Gov, and Dean. So I think there is a role there, just looking at that in terms of balance. There is a role in defense for Zach Williams to fill, because we've got Harry Dean matched up against Papley, which is not going to happen. So I imagine one of these guys is going to be rotating off the bench in Lewis Young or Gov. Harry Dean will probably go back on a Marty, or maybe Dean's rotating off the bench. Rowbottom's not a tall forward. So in terms of who they've got on the bench, they could play. Well, Jai Sarong is a defender as well. So it's a bit of a puzzle to try and work out who they're going to have push forward, because they're talls. They've got Charlie, they've got Logan McDonald, they've got a Marty, they've got a small in Roses, small in Papley. Rowbottom's not going to play forward. There's no chance. So do they play Heaney forward? Starting forward and then rotating through the middle. Given the fact that I think from memory, he might have done that in the game against us last time. He definitely pushed forward and was able to kick, 2 goals, 5 or whatever. But yeah, to that question about Zachy Williams, I think he probably will at stages. Probably depends on the state of the game. Like if we feel as though we're too tall up forward, which I don't think we're really that tall. Ashton Moyer, who's not 190 centimeters, Kemp and Harry, they're the 2 talls. So I almost feel like we've gone too tall in defense. So I don't know what we're trying to do here. I probably would have not played one of Young or McGovern and gone with another, because we've got Reedy as well, like talls on the bench. He's probably the only tall on the bench, to be fair. Elijah will play it forward. Chesser on the wing. Cooper Lord through the middle. You watch Voss play him off half forward. And Zach probably is that hybrid. But in the same breath as well, we saw Elijah playing more behind the ball against the Cats. So maybe to switch things up, maybe we do that. Zach goes forward, Elijah goes back to defense. Interesting. It's very tall. It's very tall. Sorry, I haven't put the team on screen. Sorry. I was just looking in terms of the guys that we have there. I think in terms of balance, it just seems way too tall for matchup. For matchup's sake. They've only got those 3 talls, and Rowbottom's not going to be playing as a tall. We've got 4 genuine talls: Lewis Young, McGovern, Dean, Wiedering. Unless we're going to try and play a McGovern or Lewis Young rotating forward when, say, a Moyer's off the ground, and then we throw, say, Williams back to defense. So a bit of, switcheroo here. Moyer would go on the bench. Zach Williams goes back to defense, and Lewis Young or McGovern go forward. So maybe they've done that just sort of to throw them out, and it gives us a bit of flexibility if need be. I mean, they've got McInerney, who's a defender, Bice, who's a defender, Jai Sarong, who's a defender, Jake Lloyd, so they've got 4 defenders, which is interesting, and Angus Sheldrick, which is he's a midfielder with not the best tank, not the best fitness base, endurance-wise. So, yeah, intriguing they've gone with that many, sort of small to mid-sized defenders. Don't know what they're trying to do. It is an intriguing team list for both teams, that's for sure, though. It is. It's a massive bummer. I mean, as you would have seen last season, I was a critic of his, probably more so off the back of Voss just selecting him purely based, as we discussed earlier, based upon the fact that he has been just a pressure forward and he wasn't kicking goals. And it was very, very frustrating because, yes, he was playing half decently as a pressure forward, but just was not doing enough for 4 quarters. And then when he was finally kicking goals, I was like, he's found that extra string to his bow and had that continuity in his game and really it showed me up. And I was happy for that to happen because that's what I was asking for. I'm sure, Voss and the coaching staff were as well, but just hope that he doesn't lose continuity in his game, Frankie. I know it's a new season and whatnot, but he's had a couple of niggles now. Granted, one of those was a poke in the eye, and part of the reason why he's wearing those glasses. But I think what recently let me just have a look at the team list as well for the injury list, I should say. Where are we? So Frankie Evans' availability is round 1. Interesting timelines they've got here, round 1 or round 3. So they should just say between round 1 and 3. He had a minor medial ligament strain after a collision during the final quarter of last week's practice match against the Cats. At this stage is a test to play against Richmond. Well, hopefully he comes back. Nick Haynes, similar timeline as well. Last open training I was at, he was running laps, doing sprints, all that sort of stuff, testing out that ankle, no doubt. So don't know if he's going to be playing. No, so it says here, Blake Acres, Lockie Cowan and Matt Carroll have all trained fully this week and will play in the VFL practice match on Friday. So you would imagine that Lockie Cowan, I think he's a walk-up start in our defence. If he gets through this practice match, he will be available against the Tigs. And Matt Carroll as well, I think he deserves a spot in our 23. Blake Acres probably has to work for it. If he shoots the lights out in the practice match, then, I think he's probably worthy of consideration, probably less so compared to Cowan and Carroll. G'day, Rainer. How are you, mate? Good to see you, mate. As well, I will pop up the link if anyone wants to jump on for a quick chat. Feel free to do so. We have 24 people tuning in. So this is our biggest live stream for a fair while. So thank you, one and all, for gracing me with your presence. So that is the link on the screen there in the comment section here on YouTube. So click on that. It'll send you through to the green room at the back. And you can chat about anything that you so desire, as long as it's Carlton-based, of course. Teams, injuries, matchups, all that sort of stuff. Heaping shit on Charlie, I'll allow it. So feel free to click on that if you are keen to jump on for a bit of a chat. Now, we have been going for around about 53 minutes. So I might cap this stream at around about an hour and a half at most. So might even, finish it up a little bit earlier if no one is keen, or if I guess the viewership starts to fall off. Rainer, it is back, mate. It is really, really back in a big way. I'm not a massive fan of opening round, but I'm a fan in the sense that we get to see our team a week earlier than four other teams, which again, I think it's stupid. I think every single team should be playing an opening round. It makes no sense. I think since they've started opening round, it was half the teams were on the bye and the rest weren't. And now it's, every team is playing bar 4 or something. And it's just ridiculous. Just extend it out to a full round and make it a full spectacle. It's just the AFL, the decision. It's like they make these decisions deliberately in a sense that they're so dumb and nonsensical, and they're not founded in any logic, that they just do it to piss off us fans. It's amazing. There were so many things I'd love to change if I was able to get in the behind the desk at AFL House. Let's quickly just go through as well the rest of these injuries. So Nick Haynes, as I said, back into full training, and I expect to see him. They might try and give him maybe a go in the VFL, but He's that sort of player. He's got that experience. He could probably just walk straight back into our team once he's fully fit. Matty Cottrell, still dealing with that knee. Expected availability between rounds 3 and 4. Of course, we have the round 2 bye as well, so it's sort of an extra week in a sense because we're not playing. Chera between rounds 3 and 4. I reckon that might be a little bit longer. I think considering that it is a hamstring and he's had those injuries to deal with quite a bit across the journey. We want to be softly, slowly type approach with Ches. And Billy Wilson, timeline to be determined after round 2 bye, which I didn't know about. Hotspot detected in his foot in recent weeks, which is currently being managed. His return to play timeline will be more accurately determined after the round 2 bye. So that's a bit of a shame because I'm a bit of a fan of Billy Wilson. Had sort of fleeting opportunity at senior level and looked pretty good to his credit. So, and Harry O'Farrell as well. I mean, he can sit out the rest of the season if he wants, as long as he is fine to play in 2027. I would prefer us to go down that route as opposed to rushing him back. G'day, Echo. Thanks for joining us, mate. Very disappointing selections from the coach and selection panel. There were a number of games last year where I felt we reduced our chances at the selection table. 100%, mate. I'm not too sure if you just joined us, but we've been chatting about just that. And if you go back and have a look at my live streams and my preview videos, there are so many times where I spoke about guys being selected that shouldn't have been selected, guys that should have been dropped back to the VFL due to form, due to not fitting, I guess, a role in that given week against that given opponent. It's just so perplexing. And I spoke about it earlier in terms of, we've had almost wholesale changes across the board for our coaching staff, except for Michael Voss and Ash Hansen. Those are kind of the two main ones. I know there's Jordan Russell, but those are sort of the two main head honchos. And the fact that we're still encountering these issues at the selection table, it says to me it's ingrained within Michael Voss's repertoire as a coach. And it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Jamar, how are you, mates? Hope you are well. And haven't seen you for a little while, mate. Not since our last live stream, which is a little while ago. So good to see you, mate, and hope you are well. And let's hope, indeed, the Blues win. From memory, mate, I don't think you're a Carlton fan, are you? Are you a Brisbane fan, maybe? I may be wrong. Echo Warrior, I think Voss he hasn't changed. I just hope that he has changed on game day. From what we've seen against the Lions and Geelong, I know it was just practice games, match sims virtually against other teams. The way that we were playing was really pleasing. So that's been kind of my main ask for things to change. So if it means that he's able to change that and not change the selection issues that he's had, I'll take it for now. Baby steps. That's what we're going to take when it comes to Michael Voss. No disrespect, but I mean, from what we saw in recent seasons, especially last season, he needs to change things up. And if it means incremental changes, sure, go for it. But we don't want to be losing games at the selection table. It's a big, big thing and a big issue that has plagued us for so long. Echo, interesting to see how he responds to the challenges in game. And that's the other thing I think he's kind of have dealt with. I mean, I never dislike whether it be a coach or player as a person, but it's obviously when it comes to Voss as a coach, I don't think he has many layers to him, I think, strategically. So I'm hoping that Adam Simpson being employed in the background there just to help him out, give him a bit of a whisper in the ear, like, I think you should be doing this or maybe changing this in game. I really hope that helps. So, I'd hate to see Voss get the sack, really, because we've stuck behind him. It's his last year. And ultimately, we will just want to see the team succeed. So let's just hope that it comes to that. Jamar, yes, you're a Lions fan. Probably gave it away there with your little picture. I think you're wearing a Fitzroy jumper, maybe, or someone is. But I think, from memory, you did say you were a Lions fan. Out of the league's coaches, where would you rate him? Ooh, where would I rate him? Let me just pull up. It's hard to you can't rate him alongside the new coaches like Josh Carr. But I would say he's probably, if I was to go team by team, I would say he He's he's nowhere near the same stratosphere as McRae. Chris Scott, nowhere near, of course. Brad Scott, probably on par with Brad Scott, I would say. Now, Justin Longmire, yeah, he's okay. Hardwick, no. I actually rate Kingsley ahead of Voss, in all honesty. So I would say he's down probably in the bottom 4 to 6 coaches, if I was going to be generous. But I think what his strengths are, and I'm sure that Graham Wright has identified this as well. He's a really good people's person and is a great motivator and speaks really well. So I wonder if, he said, we'll back you in and we'll surround you with decent assistants to really help you out. And we'll employ, Adam Simpson, who is a premiership coach at the end of the day. I know he copped a fair bit of shit, especially in his last couple of seasons at West Coast, but West Coast's list was, that was Diamond Valley Football League type, I guess quality. That's for sure. What do other coaches dislike him? I don't know about that. If that's the case. When Carlton got Voss, they knew he needed a season match day coach assistant. And yet we didn't do it. That's the thing. Sorry, Dean, he's in the background. We'll patch him through in a moment. I'll just quickly go through these. Interesting things to consider. I think he'd be bottom 4. Yep. 17th, says bruh. Is he on par with Brisbane's coach? Old man Fags? No, nowhere near. Good old Fags. He's a great, I guess, strategizer, if you want to call him that. I think and that's kind of what Brisbane headhunted him for. It was a really unorthodox type coach that was appointed, I think. But in the background, I think he's been around the traps, knows his stuff, and has shown it. Yeah, won a couple of flags with Brisbane, and I reckon they'll probably win the 3rd this season. Let us know as well in the chat. Who do you think, outside of us, Carlton chat, who do you think wins the flag? We'd obviously love to do it ourselves, but who do you think? Now, I might pop on my headphones here because I might just get some feedback otherwise, because we do have Dean in the back room here, if my headphones are charged, which I think they are. And I will pop up the link as well in the chat again for anyone that is keen to jump on after Dean. Let me just make sure it's coming through my headphones. Don't think it is. I think they are they? I don't know. We'll check it out. We'll find out. Dean is joining us. How are you, mate?
How you going, mate? How you going?
Not too bad. Did you hear me?
I'm really well. Can you hear me okay?
Gotcha loud and clear, mate. Thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts on opening round, the team, everything else, expectations? We'll start with your thoughts though on the team itself.
Oh, first of all, I love your channel and I love your work, mate.
Thanks,
fantastic. Mate. Particularly all the pre-season stuff that you pushed out to us over the summer with your 4K camera and those wonderful images. So thanks for that.
Thank you. No worries at all. No, it's always good fun to get out there because it is my day job as a videographer. So I figured I've got the gear, got the skill set, so I want to go out there and just feast my eyes on the boys training, but also capture some of that as well and get behind the camera, filming some footy, which I haven't done for a little while because I used to obviously work at which I've mentioned in the past. I used to work at Carlton. I head up the video team there back in 2018. So the last time I was filming any AFL based stuff was back then, and prior to that was at when I was at Collingwood. So I've had a fair bit of experience filming the boys training, different colours. So yeah.
When exactly were you there in 2018?
When was I there? Or
yeah, because I was at Carlton I worked at Carlton between 2017 and 2018, but we might have missed each other. Was Kane Liddell the CEO when you were there?
He was, yes. We actually moved into his, I don't know if you remember, but we moved into his old office, the media team, back then. I think I started, it would have been, I'd have to look at the fixture because I think it was around about round 4, I might have been, of that season, because I was finishing up at Collingwood, and I remember Collingwood's last game was against St Kilda at Marvel, and then the next week I started at Carlton because I was kind of doing a bit of a handover because I took over from someone else's role, and ended up starting then. So and then finished up the end of
Oh,
2018 because I was just
I
at that
reckon.
stage I'd been working in footy for around about 4 or 5 seasons and was pretty burnt out. So
Yeah.
that was pretty much it.
Oh, I reckon I missed you because I was there in 2017 when Triggy was still there, and then
Oh, yep.
Liddell, they moved him on, which was a huge mistake in my opinion, but that's water long under the
Yeah.
bridge. And then good old Kano came in, and then he whacked about 20 people in one day, and I had the luck of being the first cab off the rank that morning
Oh,
after they'd actually I got through a 12-month probation period and got through, and then a new CEO came in. But anyway, it's interesting because I thought we must have just missed each other. Anyway, never
yeah.
mind. Never
What's
mind.
If you don't mind me asking, what role were you in? Were you in like the
I
corporate
was in the
team or were
commercial
you?
team. I was in the commercial
Yep.
team working with
Oh yeah, Adam.
and Sammy
Apart?
Eustace.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he'd be the longest serving there now. I don't think anyone's been there
Yeah.
longer than Adam. Yeah.
I think
So
I think he's still there. He's he's part of the furniture, isn't
He's a ripping guy, fantastic guy.
he? Yeah.
But anyway, sorry about the shop talk. But yeah, when you
No,
mentioned
very
Carlton,
good.
couldn't help myself. Just as per the comments earlier, I think the game is still winnable, no doubt. I'm not going to come in like a negative Nelly. We've all got to kind of push through that after last year. But I think over the past couple of years, we've just lost. I think we've lost a lot of games at the selection table. I really do. And you've only got to go back to that 24 elimination final. I'm not sure we would have won it, but I don't think we should have lost by the amount we did. I think that was a game that was lost at the selection table. So look, this team, on a really positive note, I think it does look obviously more balanced than the side when we played them last year, and probably balanced with just about more balanced than any other side that we pushed out onto the park last year. But bravery is the big thing for me, or boldness. We've got to be bold in how we play this year, and also bold at the selection table. So it's only one player, but I just really thought they'd give Taylor a run. I really do. I think he's the obvious, even though it's his first year and it's his first pre-season. 2 quarters of him, for me, I'll take that ahead of 4 quarters of Fogarty, who I'm sure is a lovely guy. I don't mean to dish on him, but I think you and I think the same. I hate wasting positions in the forward line on players that just don't hit the scoreboard. And if you look at Taylor Burns' reel, his under-18s reel, he's a good tackler as well. He can put on pressure, and he's just a beautiful finisher, and that's what we need. He's the type we need more of in the side. So at least he's been picked as an emergency. That's a credit to him. So there's that. I think Boyd's actually had a better pre-season than Sards.
Yep.
To me, when I was watching him in those pre-season games, I think he's kicking, his field kicking, which is his strength, kind of left him. I think in the last, we didn't play much last year, the year before, but I thought his field kicking was back in the pre-season. I don't think he fluffed a kick, and we need
That long
good
goal
kickers.
as well, which is good.
Yeah, we need good kickers in the side to state the obvious, and I think he's had a better pre-season than Sard, so that was a surprising one for me. I thought he would have been selected, and I just think run. I don't know what you think. It's when I look at the side on paper, and I know we've got Chester on the bench, which is terrific, and I don't think Smith's going to play as a permanent forward pocket. And you've got Elijah, but it's just run out of the back line. I just worry that it looks a bit, as you're saying before, tall, and I'm just trying to figure out where the genuine run out of the back line is going to come from.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be a case of rotating guys off the bench? I mean, Zach Williams has spoken about it across the pre-season that he's going to be playing in defence now, but surely that we have just one of these 2 guys in Gov or Young rotating off the bench and have Zach Williams. I think again it might be a bit of a waste. I mean, who do we have? We've got Liam Reedy as sort of that main tall off the bench, but it probably makes sense if we were to name the team. And that's a funny thing nowadays, isn't it? That team or coaches very rarely name the teams as they're about to line up. So it's like that extra puzzle piece. It's like we need the opposition coach to work out or not work out what we're going to do and just throw a cat amongst the pigeons. But it makes you wonder, like, if we change the team the way that it's named and say put Lewis Young on the bench, put Zach Williams there, it automatically looks much better, I think.
It does, yeah.
But just seeing all these guys, side by side or next to each other, it's just, like, on different lines, it's just like, well, it just throws things out a little bit. But I don't know.
Will Hayward's not going to play on the wing, don't you? So we know that.
No way. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I reckon Parkin used to do this all the time as well. When the side will come out in the newspaper, like they'd put them in positions, and you look at it, and you'd say, look, there's no way he's going to play there. It's kind of funny. I don't know who they think they're trying to fool, because the opposition must look at it and we know you're not going to play there. But anyway, it's kind of fun. But you're right. Yeah. You're right. There will have to be some sort of rotation off the bench, and I think you did mention it before. It's the other rotation. They'll rotate the talls, obviously, as well. So you'll see Dean rotating through McGovern and Young and so forth. So yeah, look, I've taken a real liking to Taylor Byrne ever since they started playing his highlights reel when he was drafted, even before the pre-season. I looked. Sometimes you can just tell.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah.
What a player's got, and I just looked at those under 18 highlights and the tackling, but just the finishing. And there was one of the goals he kicked. He was actually playing at Icon. I don't know whether you remember it. He was on the flank, kicking towards the legend stand on the flank, and he has just absolutely nailed it. And I just thought, we haven't got anyone. We haven't got any small player in the side that can do that. We just don't. Like he just didn't even think about it. He grabbed it, he ran, he kicked it, and it was just never in doubt. Never in doubt, So you can just tell, I mean, look at this.
Yeah. Look, his evasiveness is really good, but like his field kicking is really good as well. That's what impressed me, I think, the most. I mean, small forwards, you expect them to have like that snapping ability, that crumbing, prowess, but his field kicking is actually really good.
Look at the evade. And the other thing about it, he reminds me a little bit. He's a bit smaller, but there used to be a guy. He's dead. He died a couple of years ago. He played for Essendon. Merv Neagle, who was from Bulla, same town as Tim Watson. He was a bit bigger than Taylor, but there's this country way they move. It's the way he kind of swings his hips when he runs. There's this real power there. And the other thing, you're watching when he's kind of running on the ground or just jogging around, it's almost like he's got these anti-grav pads in his shoe. Like he almost floats, he bounces.
Yeah, doesn't he?
Like everybody else seems to be sort of playing with earth gravity. He's on moon gravity. He seems to bounce on the ground when he moves, and it's like Jagger Smith. That's his thing. He's really unique. He's got something different. He's got something different from all the other players, and I guess that's why I'm disappointed with a guy like that. I go for broke, and I would have played him. Yeah. But we know he's going to play eventually. I guess that's the positive thing. It's inevitable that he's going to get a game this year. Let's hope it's sooner rather than later. Perhaps it might even be against Richmond next week. You never know. So. But I just think it's ironic. The game that worries me, this game at the SCG, and it's weird because it's a small size ground, isn't it? But run always seems to be important there. Like it's a toy ground compared to the MCG, and you'd think it'll be about territory and tackling and all that other stuff, but it's always the run. We always get beaten by Sydney's run on what's probably the smallest ground in the competition. So anyway, look at how he moves. He just bounces. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah, and I love his ferocity as well. Like he just gut runs as well. Like he doesn't look like the fittest bloke, must be said, but gee whiz, does he try his guts out? And that's what you want in a player. Like second, third efforts, and just even if you like, there's a bit of play here. I think it was about the 1 minute mark where he sprints out of the middle and catches this bloke, and it's just like. There's probably here it is, no chance of probably getting him, but he just like extends himself here, this bit of vision here.
This one.
Extends himself, and probably like, I don't know if the player was about to kick for goal, but like to be able to affect the kick there and put him off balance, it's just, I'm sure that the recruiters saw that, and being a pressure forward as well, Voss is probably like, automatic tick.
Look at this.
But he's got a bit more to him. He's got that evasiveness. He's got, as you said, the way that he moves, the swagger, the way that he turns his hips, can turn on a dime, looks really good. So, I mean, small forwards, we've kind of had a fair issue with across the journey, haven't we? Outside of Eddie Betts, we've tried so many guys in that position. They just haven't come on. And he seems to be like a bona fide small forward.
Well, he's got he's got what they call the forward craft, obviously, like footy IQ, and that's where we've kind of come up short. Like everyone kind of bemoaned, moving Owies on, but see, to me, Owies was never a genuine small forward. He was he was a small forward that led, but he didn't really ever get to the drop of the ball and kick clever goals in front of the pack, and he was more of a lead to the space, which again is good. That is partly footy IQ, but he was never a genuine small forward to me, and he wasn't quick either, which I reckon if you're going to be small forwards have to be quick as well.
Exactly.
And then we had kind of Corey Durden, who, when we first recruited him, I mean, the way he looked, I thought, oh God, he reminds me of Brent Harvey from North Melbourne, the way he moves and stuff. And I thought, I thought he could be something, but he just never. I mean, there were the injuries, obviously, but he never quite seemed to take the opportunities. And I mean, again, his decision making for a small forward, I just reckon, was lacking as well. So I found him a tremendously frustrating player to watch. And then Jesse. I'm not sure what's going to happen with poor old Jess. I mean, everyone loves him. I like him, but I don't know whether it's the lack of speed or... I mean, in his first season, he looked like a smart forward. If you go back to 2022, was it 2023? Yep. It was 2022. Yeah. 23 goals. And I just remember that game against Collingwood, the last game of the year where they got us. But he kicked 3 goals in the third quarter or something. Like, he looked like a genuinely smart small forward. So, I'm not quite sure what happened, but look, I think there's still plenty to look forward to. I don't want to be negative, but I have my heart set on Byrne and the likes playing. That would have been just the complete thing for me. If he had been on the side, then I would have thought, wow, this is a totally different Carlton side. But we just got to get behind him, mate.
Yeah, and what about Charlie? Do you think Wieders gets first crack on him?
Oh, I would think he would have to, because, well, I mean, you can say what you want about Charlie. I mean, he's lazy. He doesn't chase. We're saying that. He doesn't chase all the aggrieved Carlton stuff. But I mean, he's still a big, strong guy, Charlie, and obviously he's a super talented footballer. All right, no one's denying that. But he's a big, powerful guy, and I think you'd have to give it to Jacob, because I think physically he's probably the one guy that can go with him. Unless you kind of throw the dice, and I heard someone, it might have been on Terry's channel the other night, saying, well, maybe you just give him to Lewis Young and just say, Lewis, you just stick with him and try to shut him out, and you've got Wiedering as another genuine interceptor. But I just don't think you could. I don't have confidence in Lewis to go up against Charlie. I think Charlie's a bit too cunning for him. Yeah. I just think Jacob has to get the job, and the other guys have just got to play their role. Hopefully. So and Lewis as well. Like he's one of those players. Like I love him, and he's much maligned, but the good games are really good. And I think he's one of those players that he's kind of a bit of a confidence player. And you notice that if he is beaten, he can kind of go within his shell, and it sort of compounds. I think, and I could see that happening if he does get first crack at Charlie, and Charlie like burns him off the lead, or in terms of out muscling, which can happen against Lewis Young. He does struggle at times to hold his own, especially against the stronger opponents. And I could see that happening if that was the case, where he would just go within himself and just that would persist. I can't recall what game it was, but there was a game where Voss persisted with Young on the opposition's key forward, and we got absolutely was it Hogan? I can't recall who it was, but we got absolutely smashed, and he refused to change the matchup. And I'm like, we need to if that's the case, he's a confidence player as it is, we need to throw the magnets around and just change things up. But you would say that Wieders does get first crack on him, and hopefully gets into his head a little bit. And hopefully it's the Charlie that we saw late in 2025, starting the 2026 season in that out of form type Charlie. That would be good to see, wouldn't it? But you just know that he's going to be on his game. New season, new club. He's going to be out to sort of prove a point in his own mind, I imagine. Look for sure. But I was having a chat with another Carlton mate today, and it's really interesting. All the media conversation around, of course, they're always trying to talk up pressure on Carlton and the coach. But Charlie's going to it'll be a new Charlie because he's gone to Sydney. He's left Carlton with its massive supporter base and the pressure and expectation of playing for Carlton. Now he's in Sydney and he's kind of supposedly away from the limelight. In a southern state sort of football town, and I'm kind of like, if anyone or he thinks he's escaping the limelight by going to Sydney, it's like, mate, you are stepping in the footsteps of Tony Lockett, Barry
Franklin.
Hall, Buddy Franklin, Warwick Kappa. But no, but
That's right. Yep,
seriously,
you can.
no, but seriously, those three players were drafted to Sydney to get Sydney into a grand final and win it, and in some shape or form, those three players achieved that. Like Barry Hall played in it, was in the side that got them to a grand final and they won it. Lockett didn't, but clearly he was a big part of them getting to the 96 grand final against North Melbourne. And, Franklin got him into three. They didn't win it, but he got them there. So, mate, he's been drafted there for one reason and one reason alone. If you're trying to tell me that ain't pressure and that's not heat, then I don't know what is. So,
and you look at the forward line for Sydney as well. Like, apart from Papley, you got Malcolm Roses, who's kind of like, who? Like, he played a few games at Gold Coast. Roy Bottom's a midfielder. You got a Marty there who's kicked a random bag here or there, and Logan McDonald, who, high raps, high draft pick, had one or two good seasons, has been ravaged with injury, and isn't the big name, but they drafted him to be that sort of incumbent, forward of the future. And you look at Charlie, and his name sticks out like dog's balls, really. It's just like, it's unavoidable. You're totally right, like the pressure.
I mean, but he's going to have better, obviously, he's going to have great ball delivery, no doubt, from their midfield. I mean,
Heaney and Warner,
So, let's be honest, and, Gould and who's the other guy who I can't stand, is just a wonderful player, the smart mouth. Warner, sorry, you mentioned
Warner,
him. He's going to get, so that takes a bit of pressure off him anyway, I guess because he's getting great delivery, but still, I had to laugh. There was, have you been following all the coaches' interviews on Fox Footy? The face.
Oh no, I haven't caught. I've got to catch up on them. No,
most of them. I've seen quite a few of them, and not just the Voss one. They're all quite good. But I only caught part of the Dean Cox one, and I kind of had to. I had a giggling fit when they started talking about Charlie, because he's saying, Cox is saying things like, well, all I see is a guy that just wants to get back to his best again, blah, 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 blah. Oh, what else? And I can't remember who was interviewing, but what else is he doing? What else do you love about him? Oh, it's just what he's teaching all our other forwards and his leadership. And I was like, mate, are you like serious?
Oh, he obviously didn't watch any tapes of Charlie late in 2020, or for most of 2025.
Mate, this guy couldn't teach a Labrador to take he couldn't teach a Labrador to take a dump in a dog park sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's just. But look, anyway, they're going to say that. I'm not dishing him. He will play well. He could not possibly not kick goals in that side with those players. I mean, he totally is he totally has failed and stuffed his career if he can't. Cuddy, absolutely. Starts in the midfield. Starts in the midfield. That's totally right. End of story.
Yep.
So, but look, it's winnable. It's winnable.
Yeah, even you're totally right, because he's one of his big strengths is on the lead, marking on the lead. He's speed off the mark, so we'd have to be very smart if we could do it. Is use one of our other tools to try and cut off his run. And I'd love to see. It's his first game, but he's renowned for it in his under-18s games. Harry Dean, big strength, reading the flight of the ball, almost like a Tom Stewart, and intercepting and getting into the path of leading opponents and forwards. So, do we task him with potentially, guarding a space, defensive 50, and drifting across into that space there to try and chop off any of the runway, we'll call it, for Charlie marking on the lead. I don't know, but we'd need to sort of look at that. If it's not body on body, if he's able to get a run at the ball, he's going to be hard to stop, Charlie, because as you know, he's a good player.
Well, I did notice, particularly in the game against the Giants last week, and this is where you've got to give the devil his due, he did seem to be leaping for marks and jumping more powerfully than he did with us last year. He wasn't actually taking the clinkers. He took a rip. You would have seen the highlights. He took a ripper out in the wing and did his typical 60-metre goal. And his other one was just the Joe the Goose. Surprise, surprise. So, and look, that's the other thing about him. He's bloody cunning. He's cunning as a fox. Like he won't get sucked up the ground that much. So we're going to have to be really wary when we're attacking out of the back line. He's not going to do too much chasing. So not turning the ball over from our point of view is critical, because he's just going to sit back there, like a carpet snake, and just wait for it to come back to him. So
exactly, and only Carlton as well. How are you, mates? I hope you're well. Very, very funny man on across socials. If you haven't come across his work, go and check him out. Really good. He says 4 talls in the back line, similar to what we were chatting about earlier. It's going to be so congested. As long as we don't let them get clean possession out of the contest, Charlie will have a rough night. So, yeah, on the same page as what we've been saying. Really got to chop them off. And Brodie Grundy scares the living shit out of me. I mean, he was at the Pies when I was working there, and very quirky character, but an elite ruckman. His tap work is just second to none. I think he's really, really good. Came into some awesome form last year, and if he carries that forth into this year, he's going to be hard to stop. And we got smashed in the hitouts in this game last year as well. Pitnet was one out, and he almost had 50 hitouts himself. So looked really good. So I wonder if we try and we're trying the two-pronged attack with Liam Reedy and Pitto at Grundy, which is good. And I think, especially with the new ruck rules, I think around the ground as well, Brodie Grundy, he's got that endurance base to him, that big tank, and can do damage around the ground, not just at stoppages. So I think we're probably trying to negate things there with Liam Reedy, more that mobile ruckman compared to Pitto. But in the ruck, I think we almost need to just halve the contest if we can do it and try and shark the hitouts.
Did De Conning play last year in the same game as well, or was it only Pitto?
It may have been TDK as well. Let me have a look. For some reason, I thought it was only. Here we go.
I reckon. Did Harry end up playing in the ruck a bit that night?
Where are we? Hitouts. Pitnet. Where's the bloody? I'll go to the other breakdown. Where are we here? Player stats. Here we go. So, yeah, it was Harry. So, Pitto.
So no De Koning.
No.
But look, no, I think I agree. We have to try and work. The only thing we can do is work Grundy over with, 2 of our ruckmen. I think that's the only, and he's still probably going to play well. So, our midfielders just have to be a bit smarter, and as they used to say in the 80s and the 90s, shark the opposition ruckman if that's possible. But we've got no choice. I think in most games this year, I don't see too many games where we won't play 2 ruckmen, because you're either going to come up against, like if you come up against Fremantle, you're going to have to play 2 ruckmen against them. Because they've got Darcy and
Jackson.
Who's the other? Jackson. GWS, for instance, at full strength, will normally play 2 monsters. I can't remember who they are, but they're just absolute bloody
Briggs
monsters.
and Madden, I think they've been playing. Yeah.
So you're gonna, and when that is not the case, we're probably going to have a really athletic ruckman, who again you're probably going to have to use our 2 guys to kind of work over. I mean, St Kilda, we're going to have to play 2 ruckmen. I mean, they're going to play Marshall, and they're going to play De Conning. So I just don't see too many games where we're going to be playing 1 ruckman. And I don't, with this new rule, I tell you what, I do not want to see Harry Mackay going up for centre bounces.
Oh, nope.
Seriously.
To his knee. Yeah, patella tendon.
Forget it. Not in a million years. So, I don't know what you think, but I reckon we'll end up playing both those guys in most games. So you just got to hope until, Hudson's still very young, that Reedy can improve his forward craft. He's got to continue to improve as a ruckman, but we want him to really start taking a few clunkers in the forward line and kicking, maybe a goal a game. I think that would make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And it means that he's probably unlucky, I think, Hudson, because he, I think he probably gets first crack ahead of Liam Reedy. I mean, from what Reedy showed, didn't show too much, I think, outside of the ruck. But again, it's just like we compare it to Hudson. He didn't really do too much in the preseason either. So I think he probably shot himself in the foot in the lead up to the season. But as you said, he probably needs a little bit more development because he's shown some good signs. And we're kind of almost trying to make a forward out of Hudson because O'Keefe, he's been drafted as a ruckman, like that was his bread and butter. And now we're trying to morph him into a ruckman because we've got the lack of key forward depth. So I do feel for him in a sense because it's not a natural craft to him, that forward craft. So that development needs to come in line with that. But it will happen, I think. And it will allow us to then utilise him as that ruck forward. Whereas I think with Reedy, he's probably the opposite. I think in the waffle, he was the number one ruckman at Peel. Looked really good in the ruck, but then in the back part of 2025, he developed that forward craft in his game as well, was able to push forward in game and kick goals. I think they've probably targeted him for that as well out of Freo, and provides that, I think, a bit of an option up forward. Only Carlton says, just tuned in, so I don't know if you've talked about it already, but what's your thoughts on what role Lord would play? He's shown he can be a good tagger in the past. Would you want him going to a Swan mid? Very good point. I'll throw it to you first if you want to first crack at that. I've got a couple of thoughts, but any idea in terms of what you would like to see with Lord?
Well, at the moment, because he's still, again, a young player developing his craft, at the moment I do see him as more of a defensive midfielder. So, I could see. I mean, what we're talking about is he sort of going to be a bit of a tagger, and I would say yes, like similar to the Hewitt role. But I mean, the thing I do like about Lord, he can attack. I think he people are a bit hard on him. I think he's a terrific young player, but people seem to go after him for his kicking and his disposal, which I don't think it's that bad. I think there's a few worse kicks in the side than him. So, I mean, we've got kind of George Hewitt. He's kind of a defensive kind of midfielder as well. In a way, he can sort of play that tagging role. So they're a bit similar, but I can see him doing that. But he does a lot of good link up stuff as well, Lord. So I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that to stop. The interesting thing for me is Chera and where he sits all on this now, because I just don't think we can have, if we're going to play in this new way, I don't see how Chera, Hewitt, and Lord can all play in the same team. I just think we really start to look stodgy again when you're putting those three guys back in the midfield together. So, that's the challenge for me. And at the moment, I'm a Cooper Lord man, to be honest. I really am. I don't know about you.
I'm a massive Cooper Lord glazer, if you want to call it that, because there's so many times last season where this, pretty much in every one of the previews, when the team list came out, and it was so deflating seeing Coops being named as the sub. And I'm just like, just give him first crack. He showed some decent signs in the first game against Richmond, and it was thereafter, it was like sub week after week after week. And then when he was finally getting full games, I'm like, we need to play him. I mean, he was being played sort of as off half forward virtually, with a little bit of wing time here and there. But I'm like, we need to play him, again, play to play his strengths, their bread and butter, which for Lord is at the contest. And and you'll see it there, the stats on the screen there, those games where he was playing in the middle, his last three games, I think the last game he played a little bit forward as well. And then I think he got concussed, but like 22 disposals, 24 disposals, 16, and able to kick goals as well. And as you said, rightfully so, I think he's a really good link player. And he showed that against the Cats and the Lions as well. Passage of play there where he'd be used as that link player. And yes, his kicking can be a bit wayward here and there, but I mean, he's not a standout for his kicking, but again, as that link player, he's a smart footballer. And I think at the contest, that is the biggest strength of his. And if we can utilise that, in rotations or whatever it may be, you just help us out a bit more, because Hewitt's getting on in age. We need the next generation to be coming through those contested players.
You're totally right. You've got to develop him. And look, the other thing I love about him is he's got vigour, mate. He's got a bit of SH1T in him. And when I compare him with Chera, I know you can judge players harshly sometimes by what you see on the field and their demeanour. But I just see a guy just going through the motions. He's going to pick up his 23, he's 25, but I don't know what it does. Look, if I was an opposition coach, I think of it this way. If I'm coaching against Carlton, I'm not losing any sleep the night before about Adam Chera and what Adam Chera's going to do to you. I'm sorry.
No.
People are going. A lot of people are Chera fans, and they're going to disagree. But I will not lose any sleep over Adam Chera. You know, and I think 5-year contract, it becomes a money ball, equation. You think of the contract, what he's getting paid, what we gave up to get him, and then I look at a kid like Cooper Lord. I just know who I'm going to play, and I tell you, I know who's in my calculations for end of the year and potential Zach Butter trades, and if it's going to be a pick and a player I want to bundle off. I tell you what I'm 100%. Thinking.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. Like Chera is serviceable, but he's really good games are too few and far between, I think, compared to those games where he's just so. And it kind of showed as well that, what was it, 2024 it may have been? Or no, he was sort of injured those for a majority of games there. But Voss was playing him off defence. And I'm like, you don't play your like first choice players in the engine room off defence unless they're not hitting their straps in their designated role. And it was just kind of like very strange, I thought. And I'm like, well, maybe he's not doing enough. Like maybe they're just trying to unlock something else because he can't no longer fit in the engine room as that first choice midfielder. So they're just trying him in different areas. And it was a very strange thing to see, but it kind of makes sense in that context there. And Only Carlton says Chera is Mr. 6 out of 10. He does just enough every game to avoid criticism. He's like a glorified role player, but he's on $800K a year. Yep.
Yeah, I think we're totally agreeing with Mr. Yep. Only Carlton, 100%. But he's got a lot of fans. Like seriously, I get into not interesting debate with my other Carlton friends about Chera because he's got a lot of fans and a lot of supporters. But I just and people go back to 2023 when they talk about him. They say, oh, he was one of the main reasons when that run started, and Chera was one of the driving players. And I used to have the same conversation about a guy called Phil Malin, who was part of the Mosquito fleet back in the 80s. And I say about, is Chera one of the reasons why we start playing well, or does he just start playing well when the side is playing well? And I'm the latter with Chera. I don't see Chera as a guy, the moment he starts, he's this dynamo that really gets the side firing up, Wayne Johnston was that player, right? Jimmy Buckley was that player. They were those players, they got us fired up. Alex Marcoux was that player. Phil Malin was a very good winger for us. He was a good player, but he wasn't one of those guys. He played well when those other guys got the whole side up and running. I just don't see Chera as a guy that drives, improvement, gets the side kind of up and running, like obviously a Walsh or, probably a Jagger Smith. Now, I'm not saying I expect him to be as good as those guys, but again, like Only Carlton, I just see him as this guy that kind of just floats along and goes with the momentum of the rest of the side. I don't know whether I'm being harsh, but it's just how I see it,
Yeah. I mean, the 2023 season was like incredible. And I thought that was it. That was the turning point. That's the point where he's going to be, one of our integral operators in the middle. And injury has no doubt that's kind of scuttled a lot of his continuity in his game and whatnot, and having to build his fitness base back again. And with that comes confidence and everything else. But it seems like he's taken a step forward and then a step back, step forward, step back, and he hasn't really taken those steps forward beyond that. But you just hope, like Only Carlton said there, I think he's still young and can still improve, get back to his best. But right now, he's so far off it. In 2022, 2023, I had dreams of that man, and he's fallen off. Like I remember when it was announced that he'd selected us as the team that he wanted to go to, and I was so rapt because I'm like, the potential upside that he showed then at that age from Freo, I'm like, we're going to be getting him at unders. And as it's turned out now, looking back, it's like, well, did we actually, benefit from, longer term? I mean, if you're looking at it in a micro sense, in a microcosm sense, like in a season or two, he's looked good, but across the stretch of his career in the Navy Blue, has he been a worthwhile, venture or investment?
So even if there was just a little, say, the extra string to his bow, just say even if he hit the scoreboard more. Like if he's still doing everything else that he does now, but just say he just kicked more, he averaged 1.8 goals a game, or 2 goals for the year per game, then that's something. As long as if he was starting to hurt the opposition regularly, that's something you can go, okay, that's what he brings to the midfield. Like he might be not the quickest player, he might be a little similar to this guy in Walsh, but what he does is this. Like when he gets it an opportunity, he hurts the opposition. But I mean, he doesn't really do that. You know.
Yeah, you can see there. I've got on screen the that's the breakdown in goals, and he's only kicked 39 across his career. His most was in 2023 when he kicked 9 goals. Outside of that, 7, 5, 5, 5, 4, 2, 2. You know, and he's played over his lowest game total there was the injury year, the big injury year, 2024, when he's had 13 games, and he's still, you know, hasn't really exceeded 10. He hasn't exceeded 10 goals at all in a given season. So that's the thing I love about Cripper. And as I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were tuning in then, but I'd love to see us just on the topic of midfielders kicking goals. I'd love to see us use Cripper in a forward role a bit more like that. When he won his first Brownlow, that's when he was, you know, impacting the scoreboard, being pushed forward, and it makes sense. Like, he's a tall midfielder, and utilize that to your advantage. Obviously, quite strong, big frame, and he's a key forward playing in the midfielder's role. So, you know, exploit his opponent by pushing him forward. You know, in game, doesn't have to be, you know, at a centre bounce, you know, throw up. Do it in game, push him forward, and then when the ball's, and then I mean, just. Probably this year's going to be added dynamic with the inclusion of Ainsworth and Hayward and everything else. But just add an extra string to the bow there and unpredictability, which is kind of what we've been lacking with Charlie and Harry being our only focal point. So I just love to see that being added to the mix.
Well, see, that challenges, this is why I get back, that challenges the opposition coaching box, right? So again, if I'm an opposition coach, and Carlton are going to start doing. That's when I think I might stay awake at night. Oh, what if they drop him? What if he's dropping down there more than I think? Because he's 1 centimetre shorter than Stephen Kernahan. That's, if you want to put it in perspective.
Incredible.
He is 1 centimetre shorter than Stephen Kernahan. So, you know, mate, and I think he's going to get free kicks. If he gets in front, if he gets front position, like he's that big and he's that tall, and if he leaps to the ball, there's a good chance he's going to get a free because they're going to chop someone will chop his arms or something like that. He will worry. That would worry a defender. That would worry a back line if he suddenly sort of drops down there, because like what you're saying is, who's covering him? Like, I've got this guy, and you know, hang on, what's going on? So that's just smart coaching, you know. So I mean, we saw a bit of it in the pre-season, so let's hope they carry it into the season proper, because they did look like they were experimenting with it a fair bit in those practice games, you know. So,
been calling out for so long, and I'm just like, we need to just add a different ingredient to the mix up forward, because it's been so one-dimensional. But and Jamar agrees with you there 100%. So it's something that
you want to give he's 30, like he's not. As I heard another Carlton podcaster say the other, it was the Prendergast guys, the Prender. Did you listen to them at all? Yeah, it was Sean Peterbudge, and he said people were, you know, writing Cripps, he's 30 and all this sort of thing, and Sean kind of said, it's not fucking Logan's Run. Have you ever seen the film Logan's Run, the science fiction film Logan's Run?
No, I haven't seen that.
Basically, long story, it's a dystopian society in the future, supposedly an idyllic society, but the only catch is as soon as you reach the age of 30, you die. They kill you. Because they only want 30-year-olds in this perfect idyllic society. They don't have, you know, old people like me. So, and they all get conned, they all get zapped, and they all think they're going to a better place, sort of thing. But that's the idea. When you're 30, you're cooked, and you don't have a role to play anymore. So that's the Logan's Run thing, and it's like, mate, he's not finished at 30. No, the age of football is obviously being stretched out with, you know, better strength and conditioning, better diet, and all that sort of stuff. But you've got to give his body, he's 30, so give him a break from the pounding, and it just makes sense to let him, you know, drop him down into the forward line and, you know, get some other guys to kind of share the load.
Yeah, exactly right. And like, they've got, just looking at their defence here, they've got Blakey in terms of like talls, McCartan, Melican.
He's tall.
And
Blakey's really tall.
Yeah, he's really tall. But it's just like, worry them as well, like, because we've got, you know, we've got on field there 4 key position defenders, but are we trying to, I don't know, are we going to use that as a tactic to our advantage? Like, if they throw, like, how tall is Heaney? Like, Heaney, actually, he can play as a tall forward, 185 centimetres, but he's got a nice leap to him. But like, with Sydney, like, their strategy, if we throw Cripper forward, we have to draw naturally a key position defender to him in order to, you know, halve that contest, because, you know, in terms of Cripper's direct opponent, you know, does if Warner's matched up on Cripps, you exploit that. Warner's not going to be able to match the height with him, so you know it provides a little bit of a mix there and unpredictability. So yeah, who knows if we go with it in game? Hopefully we do, but just have to wait
we'll
and see.
Mate. I mean, I don't get a sense that we're going to drop out based on what we've seen in the pre-season. I don't get a sense that we're going to run out of gas in the second half this time. I think we'll play. I think if anything, we'll play the game out. It's just going to be. It's simple stuff. It's concentration. It's just being absolutely in the moment, in the second for every part of that game. You just cannot lose concentration because we did that a lot last year. Like having a good start. You know, don't come out half asleep. I go back to that first Hawthorn game last year. You know, I don't know whether you remember it. That was round 2, and like they bang game out. Ball straight out of the centre, and bloody Lewis Young, mate, he's taken 40 winks, and before you know it, who's the Chow, or whatever his name is, the Hawthorn.
Oh, yeah, Marbiel Troll, yeah.
Marbiel's taking this bloody mark, and it's like, Louis Young, where are you, mate? Like, come on, it's not a bloody warm up. You know, it's called like they've got to be switched on from the moment that they run out there, and because I reckon like we did that a lot last year in the first quarter, and then after half time again, it's like a first 10 minutes of the third quarter, a bloody warm-up or something. It's not friggin' Pilates, guys. You got to be there right from the start. So, but again, I don't get that sense from the pre-season, and I just hope it carries through.
Yeah, exactly right. And as you can see, this is the scoreline from the game that we played against them last year. And we're in the game. We're actually leading for most of it up until three-quarter time. And then they came out and just went boom, 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 and kicked 5 goals to our 2, and that was it.
Well, I think from memory too, though, I'm not sure if you can remember, but you could tell about 10 minutes into that third quarter,
momentum,
that game was turning, even though they weren't. It wasn't showing for Sydney on the scoreboard, but you could tell it was turning. And again, that night, just bad coaching, wasn't it? Like we just didn't react. We just allowed it to happen. We watched, and we just allowed it to happen. So. I mean, hopefully with the changes up in the box, and actually, I wonder if Adam Simpson's flying up to Sydney for this game. I'll be
hopefully
really interested. To know that because,
intrigued to know. Yeah.
Anyway, mate,
no worries. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We might wrap things up as well. Seeing as though numbers are dwindling, and I need to have some dinner myself. So. With that, we might end things there. But thanks for jumping on, Dan. Really nice to have a chat to you in person for the first time. And I really appreciate all your support and your kind words as well at the start.
We'll see you again during the season.
Absolutely, mate. All the best, and go Baggers.
Go Baggers. Go Baggers.
Thanks, mate. Well, there we go, ladies and gents. We might wrap things up there. We're going for a little bit longer than what's actually about 17 minutes longer than what I'd stipulated initially. But why would you stop when you're having a good yarn? So appreciate the chat there with yourself there, Dean, and likewise everyone else tuning in. Thank you, Only Carlton. I have to get you on as well for a bit of a yarn, mate, at some stage in the coming weeks in season. J-Mar, thanks for tuning in, mate. Rainer, and just scrolling back through, there were a couple of others as well. Bruh, love that username. And likewise as well, Echo Warrior. There were a couple of others I may have missed. But that is it, ladies and gents. Thank you as always for tuning in. Really do appreciate your company, and Slim as well, one of our long-time followers. But with that, I guess we might end things with predictions. So I have actually tipped us against Sydney. It may be a bit of a Hail Mary. And normally, as I said, I am someone to tip with my head as opposed to my heart. Maybe it's just the swindling of form over the preseason, sort of lulling me into this false sense of security and optimism. But I can see us winning. And I'm going to tip us to win by 14 points, provided we get on top of Grundy at stoppages and we at least halve the contest, because I don't think we can beat him. If we stop the trend of both Warner and Heaney smashing us, as they have over the past 2 games against them, and we need to, I guess, stop Charlie from getting off the chain, because I can see him easily getting a little bit of wind behind his sail and kicking a couple of goals early. He might be on and might be out to prove a point We all know he's talented. As much as we hate seeing him in different colours, he will be a threat. It goes without saying. So those are, I guess, the main focal points that I'm looking for there. And if things look dire early, because we have too many tall defenders, we need to switch things up in-game. And that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at Michael Voss very closely for. In-game changes, tactical changes, and don't be afraid to make these switches. Only Carlton, 100% keen. Likewise, mate. Thank you, Slim, as well. Paddy, if you want to see Paddy, he is right here next to me. You probably won't see him too well. The little white dynamo that he is. That is my cat. He's recovering because he's been at the vet. He had a couple of spots frozen off his ear and nose. So little man, he is recovering. Only Carlton flying up and tipped us by. There you go, 3 points. Love that, mate. Jamar, will you do a full game? I don't think I will do a watch along. I'm not really one for those, mate. But I'll leave that to the good folk out there that do that, like Pommy, who does some incredible work in that space, and I think Tez may do that as well from time to time. But I'll leave that to the experts. And to end us there, I think it'll be a close game, and the margin won't be bigger than 10 points. Yeah, well, hopefully it's a cracker above all else. And with that, ladies and gents, thank you as always for tuning in. We will catch you in the next one, which will be a post-game review, so look out for that. But until next time, ladies and gents, thanks as always. And I don't know what you're saying there, but whatever the acronym means, we'll go with it. Thanks again. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.